Hello, welcome to the Final Whistle with me, Daniel Waterson, looking back at last night's 1-1 draw with Rangers at Easter Road. Coming up, we've got the analysis of the match with myself and James, post-match reaction from Paul Heckingbottom and Daryl Horgan, but first let's remind ourselves of the goals with Hibs TV's Cliff Pike and Keith Reid.
Rangers up the far end, Hanlon cuts out, chance again for Candias, send the back of the net. Hanlon blocked the initial effort. Candias gets it back, clips it into the top left-hand corner, and after 42 minutes, Rangers have the lead. That came about from poor refereeing, poor decision from the assistant referee Graham Chambers to raise the flag here, because that stopped Hibs. They thought the offside had been given, then Stephen McLean waved the play on. Dropped back by McNulty for Horgan, for Mallon. Played through for McNulty, he's onside, clips the ball over, chance, it's in the back of the net! Paul Heckingbottom breaks Hibs level! What a good piece of football there from Mark McNulty. Cuts the ball back across the 6-yard line between the defence and Alan McGregor into that corridor of uncertainty, and Flo Canberry knocks the ball into the back of the net, and after 75 minutes we're all square here at Easter Road.
Magnificent stuff, a goal out of absolutely nothing. Great work by McNulty to find his strike partner, and he goes into the back post and slammed it past McGregor to get Hibs back into this game. Hibs won, Rangers won.
Flo Canberry trying to get the Hibs support up here.
James, I feel like sometimes we talk for 10 minutes doing this, sometimes we talk for half an hour doing this. We could probably just describe the two goals today, and then what I'll do is I'll just splice it into the December game between Hibs and Rangers, because we've got a draw, we're very happy with a draw. We actually could have won it in the end, but yeah, we've maybe got away with one there.
Sometimes you forget how mad Scottish football is, and you kind of need occasionally just a little sort of reminder to go, oh yeah, I remember now, I remember this. You know, we sat here after the 5-5 game at the end of last season and we're just exasperated by the complete chaos. I mean, that tonight was just, how the hell did we get a point from that game? I mean, I don't understand it. You know, there's nothing in the statistics, nothing in any measure of that game that we should have got a point from it, but we did. And fair play to Paul Heckingbottom and Robbie Stockdale, because whatever they said at half time to sort of, I mean, not even really inspire us to get to that, but kind of make sure we ended at that point. I mean, I can't even find the words.
Yes, it's an hour into that game. You asked me the question on Hibs TV at half time. What do you say at half time? How do you change that? And I quite simply just didn't have the answer. It had been so one-sided, it had been so dominant, Hibs had been so abject that I didn't think there was a solution. An hour into the game, I'm thinking, I'm not even going to bother doing a podcast tonight. There's absolutely no point, because there's nothing to say whatsoever. And I still don't know what happened. There wasn't one sub, there wasn't one big challenge that woke up the crowd, there wasn't this sudden resurgence. So answer that. What happened?
Was there a question in there? Yeah, it was almost as if we kind of woke up. You know, it's. I mean, last week we talked about how we played for an hour and then just went to sleep for the last 30 minutes. Today we woke up for the last 30 minutes without playing for an hour. You know, it was a very, very odd game of football. I don't know if it was just one of those things where, you know, the players look at the game and they go, well, it's only 1-0 at this stage. You know, maybe we've got half a chance of getting back into this. You know, maybe we've got half a chance of getting a goal and you know, causing Rangers some problems. But at the same time, you know, you're absolutely right. There was no indication there of where that chance was going to come from, of where that goal was going to come from. And I mean, when it happened, the crowd cheered in surprise, I think, more than anything else. It's a fantastic finish by Florian Canberry, don't get me wrong, but you know, the entire sort of build up to the goal, the entire build up to the Rangers goal were just, I mean, I know there's goal of the season, there's save of the season, there's not like oddest moment of the season, but it's just absolutely mad.
Do you feel that there maybe just got to a point, and I know this doesn't happen, like we talk about kind of seminal moments as if 11 guys on a pitch all of a sudden telepathically send a message to one another, but the message at half-time, or I imagine what everyone would have been thinking at half-time, was we are showing this Rangers team too much respect, far too much respect. Now, let's take nothing away from the fact that first half in particular, they're a decent team. They created so many chances. They've got very good players in that side. But the second we kind of got in their face and stopped showing them that respect, we forced them into the mistakes. Worrell and Goldson never looked comfortable with basic long balls. So all of a sudden, once they were getting put under pressure, it then just turned the tide. And it's ridiculous that for an hour we were so kind of abject, but yet we must have created about, half a dozen decent chances by the end of that game.
Yeah, I think kind of the first indication we got of that really in the second half is about 5 or 6 minutes in. There's a long ball goes forward. McNulty does nothing. He stands completely still, and I think it's Goldson basically just jumps over the top of him, completely misses the ball. McNulty gets through, he plays in Horgan. Alan McGregor makes two good saves, first from Horgan and then from McNulty's follow-up right in the corner. But I mean, that was kind of the moment where you sort of thought they don't look comfortable, and with a guy who's sort of as physical and as much of a presence as Mark McNulty, with the pace of Daryl Horgan, with kind of the sort of the physicality of Florian Canberry as well, it's one of those where you look at it and go, if we even get sort of half a sniff that they're going to make a mistake here, we might get something from this game. And that was basically it. And I mean, look, I don't think any Hibs fan wants to come here to Easter Road every week or every second week and see us just launch the ball 50 feet in the air, wait for knock-ons, wait for odd bounces of the ball and try and pick up on that. It's not what we're accustomed to. But I mean, tonight it was just effective, and the Rangers defence didn't look comfortable at all. I don't watch Rangers enough to know if that's a problem that's been going on throughout the season. The indication from the Rangers fans on Twitter seems to be that it perhaps is. I know that there's different opinions on Worrell. I know there's a lot of Rangers fans who think Katic should be starting. I don't know. Again, like I said, I don't watch Rangers enough. I don't care, to be honest, to watch Rangers enough. But it is kind of mind-boggling that it took us an hour to work that out. But I mean, once we worked that out, every sort of bounce of the ball, McNulty wasn't winning it, but the ball's in an open space. You had Malin, you had Canberry, you had Daryl Horgan. At one point you had Mark Milligan playing almost centre forward, which was again just weird to see, getting in there and picking up on the ball, and that's when we started causing Rangers problems, and that's where the goal comes from as well. It comes from being physical. It's a great cross by Mark McNulty, and Florian Canberry, I think, maligned for most of the game, is fair to say. It wasn't his best.
Time stood still when that ball fell on his feet.
It's an acrobatic finish. It's a good finish, and not a bad way to celebrate your 24th birthday.
Yeah,
I've never celebrated my 24th birthday, so scoring against Rangers.
I remember my 24th birthday. So yeah, before we kind of break down into the nuts and the bolts here, and there's a lot to break down in this game. I asked you the question last week, but unfortunately the sound quality just wasn't good enough to put it out.
I don't think the sound quality is good enough in any episode.
No, it's not. We don't have BT guys whistling and clunking and packing up behind us this time, for now at least. But yeah, I asked the question last week, what would Paul Heckingbottom have learnt from that Celtic game? I think we kind of thought that maybe we understood the setup, but it was maybe shown a bit too much respect again today. So we're 6 games into the Paul Heckingbottom regime, 1 defeat and 6. What do you think he's found out based on the evidence of tonight?
I think bizarrely, and given the result last week in the first 45 minutes this week, resilience. I mean, cards on the table here. We should have been 2 or 3-0 down by the time we scored, at the very least.
Easily,
same with Celtic last week. There were times in the game where it looked like we were going to get overrun, but we didn't. And I think that's the point, that even when this Hibs team's not at its best, even when the defence is not at its best, and at times today our defence really wasn't at its best. Paul Hanlon and Darren McGregor had good moments in the game, but they also had a lot of bad moments in the game. The same with Lewis Stevenson, the same with David Gray as well, which is 2 of our most consistent players you're talking about. But the fact that we were able to take a point from this game and only be a goal down is testament to the Hibs team, and testament to the Hibs team that has managed to kind of keep the score at 1-0. Offrey Marciano deserves a lot of credit for that as well. He makes a couple of really good saves, really important blocks. Mark Milligan made a couple of outstanding challenges in the box in the first half, and one in the second half as well that was really crucial. So I think that's a huge plus, and something Paul Heckingbottom will definitely take heart from. And I think just a willingness not to lose the game that maybe wasn't there a few weeks ago.
Neil Lennon always praised for kind of instilling the fight, and that's not something that leaves a team overnight. It's also not something you can coach to an extent, but player spirit and passion and all that's going to shine through as long as there's a manager delivering the right message.
Yeah, and I mean that comes from the players on the pitch as well. So the likes of Darren McGregor, Paul Hanlon, David Gray, Lewis Stevenson, guys who've been there for a while, guys who kind of know the team, know the club. In Darren McGregor and Lewis Stevenson and Paul Hanlon's case, guys who are fans of the club as well, who are drumming that message into the players who've just joined. I mean, even players like Florian Camberi, Stevie Mallon, who've maybe not been here quite as long, have kind of experienced what this club is all about. So it comes from there. It comes from that desire not to see Hibs losing games. But you're right, you have to have a manager who instills confidence in the players, who can communicate messages to the players that the players can take on board. And Paul Heckingbottom and Robbie Stockdale clearly have that kind of rapport with the team, which is fantastic to see that already being cultivated. Obviously, I think people understand that there's work to be done in the summer and there's work to be done at the end of the season to have us ready for the next campaign. But it's one of those where you step back and you look at the point, and it's a very, very good point.
Yeah.
And it's one that come the end of the season we might be looking at as perhaps a result of the season.
So let's kind of delve into it then. So one forced change from Hibs, Vakina Slivka suspended, so Stevie Mallon comes in. Again, we kind of mentioned last week in the unaired one that it's just nice to see a bit of consistency in the starting lineup. So same setup. First kind of talking moment, 3 or 4 minutes into the game, Darren McGregor gets a yellow card for a perceived raising of the arm. Let's talk about Stephen McLean's performance now. Now, Stephen McLean is it might not be at this very second, but Stephen McLean is popular with Hibs fans because Stephen McLean is the referee who gave the foul and blew the final whistle in the 21st of May 2016. That foul we have probably collectively as Hibs fans watched hundreds of thousands of times, maybe more, and I bet no one still really knows why that foul was given. And that was kind of the basis of his game tonight, was just, if it's a foul, I'm not going to give it. If it's not a foul, I'm going to give it. And it was an odd performance and quite a harsh yellow card for Darren McGregor.
It was kind of like watching somebody sort of make up the rules as they went along. And I'm sure there are plenty of Rangers fans who feel exactly the same way tonight as we do. I've not seen the Hibs goal back, so I don't know if there's a suspicion of offside there. But there was a lot of fouls that you looked at and thought, I'm not sure about that, and a lot of challenges you looked at and thought, well, that should have been a yellow card, to be honest. But the game's still going. The one with Dan McGregor, you said it at half time, it's like diving. It's either a yellow card or it's a foul. In that case, if he's raised his arm, it's a red card, so it should be a straight red. If he's raised his arm and there's felt there's not been sort of enough contact there, then, well, it's not a foul, and Morelos perhaps should be booked for diving. I don't personally think you can book players for challenges like that. I think you have to have a proper decision. I think you have to be absolutely sure that it's a foul to make that decision. Ultimately, in the end, it kind of doesn't matter, but it's one of those where you don't want to sort of trot out the old cliche with all we ask for as fans is consistency, but I mean all we ask for as fans is consistency, really, to be honest. And if you were looking at that maybe, I don't know, 2-3 months ago, would that have been a red card? Possibly. Yeah,
no one has a clue anymore, do they? He'll probably still get called up for
he probably
compliance
will,
officer for it,
but he's already suspended now, so
that's true. So the first half, let's not beat around the bush. It is a raft of Rangers chances, so we'll run through some of them. There's an Arfield cross that Kent just can't get on the end of. Milligan has a phenomenal block from about the penalty spot, 6 yards out even maybe, to stop Arfield opening the scoring. We counted it as the 13th minute before Alan McGregor touched the ball, which is not a good thing. It follows a Camberi miss hit. There's Hanlon's miscontrol from a poor pass and frees up Morelos. So Ophir Marciano stands up big for that one, brilliant save. And then probably, am I going to go out on a limb and say it's the best save I've seen from a Hibs keeper this season? The Ryan Kent one. There's about 5 or 6 bodies between him and Marciano. We are in the perfect line to see that raft of bodies, and 2 phenomenal saves from Marciano to keep it 0-0.
It's a fabulous stop, and I mean, it's Offier Marciano, I think in the past couple of games in particular, has been on a real good run of form, and we had a couple of really good saves last week against Celtic. The one from Kent is excellent because, you know, it takes the deflection the way through. It's coming through just a crowd of bodies. He can't have seen it more than, you know, a millisecond before it's in front of him, and that's just instant. But I mean, that comes from playing at a higher level, and as you know, we continually say on this podcast week in, week out, we're lucky at the moment to have 2 international goalkeepers in our ranks, and Offier Marciano and Adam Bogdan seem to have been trading the gloves a little bit this season. But I mean, Offer's done his chances to holding on until the end of the season absolutely no harm tonight. It's a very good performance and very, very vital saves.
Yep, and then so there's another couple of chances. Andy Halliday blasts one over the bar. Just let that sit for a second. There we go. And then there's another phenomenal kind of block. It was either Hanlon or Milligan again to deny Arfield. And then Horgan has a shot that goes well over from a Hibs perspective. But there was a moment that Hibs were countering attack. I think it was one that Horgan put over, and there's 5 jerseys in the Hibs end still, whilst we are in an attacking position. And that was kind of the moment where you're thinking, we're too deep, we're too negative, we're showing this side far too much respect. And then when the goal itself comes, ironically and bizarrely, we can almost count ourselves unfortunate, because there's a weird passage of play where a linesman flags for offside, then sort of changes his mind because he realises he's flagged too early. Hibs keep going, Rangers sort of stop, and then from our perspective, or certainly my perspective, Flo Canberry should get that touch at the edge of the box and get a shot away. He doesn't. Rangers counter, and let's take nothing away. It's a tidy finish for Candias.
Yeah, it's one of those goals that's really difficult to describe. And when the ball goes down the right hand side, I actually think Mark McNulty is offside, so I can understand why the linesman's flagged, but he obviously doesn't see the run on Daryl Horgan. Daryl Horgan's a quick player, but he's not that quick. You know, you have to be sort of aware of the players around you. McNulty stops, he doesn't make contact with the ball. Daryl Horgan nips in, he kind of plays it into McNulty. By this point, who is onside, the Rangers defence kind of stop. McNulty kind of slows down because I think he thinks Stephen McLean's going to give the offside. He doesn't. It gets pulled back to Stevie Mallon, who actually thinks a little bit of a disappointing shot from Stevie. You know, he almost hits it, I think it's Tavernier, he hits it straight at him. But when the ball comes out, you know, you've got Flo Canberry there. There's another Hibs player in the box, which I can't remember if it's on the top of my head who it was. And Flo he just completely loses control of the ball. From there, you know, that's the furthest forward we've gone in the game. With 5 players in the Rangers box, it leaves us horribly exposed. We know the pace that Rangers have on the counter attack. The ball goes out to Candias. His first shot, I think, is a good block, but we're just far too slow to react in the second shot. And I mean, you know, like you say, take nothing away from the finish. It's a fabulous goal from Candias, who's a really talented player. But very disappointing from a Hibs perspective, and one of those sort of refereeing decisions that only seems to happen in Scottish football. Where,
does the pace and the result of that Rangers counter attack justify the setup in the first half then? That as soon as the first time we actually put bodies forward, they counter and score?
I mean, I think it does to an extent, and I think, you know, it was kind of a similar setup to the way we played against Celtic last week, where, you know, Celtic are another very pacey team, particularly with like Ollie Burke in it. This is a very pacey Rangers team. Candias and Kent are both very quick. Relis is a good burst of speed when he's getting in behind. We were sitting very deep, and we weren't allowing those balls to come in behind, and we were kind of forcing the Rangers defence to run at us. There was a lot of balls Rangers trying to play over the top that were just going out for goal kicks, that were going out for throw-ins. They were trying to sort of skiff the ball off the surface, and that wasn't working. And it was one of those where you kind of thought, eventually we are going to have to attack, and we are going to have to defend the counter attack, and that was the first time we really had to do it. And I mean, we didn't really cover ourselves in glory at all with it. So I suppose it does kind of justify the setup, but I think, you know, if you are going to set up a team like that, you have to have some kind of attacking threat at the other end to at least, you know, put the opposition defence under pressure. We just didn't have that in that first half, which is, I think, kind of where we fell down really with that.
Now we can hear from the manager, Paul Heckingbottom, speaking after the game.
Paul, that was a really competitive game there. We took a bit of a battering in the first half, but we could have won it at the end of the game.
Yeah, and credit to the players. Showed everything to get a point out of the game, and that's what it takes, you know. Some magnificent blocks first half. Paul, Millie, Darren, defending the back post. You know, Davey, Louis, the running of the midfield. We really had to dig in, because I thought Rangers were excellent. I know they've got good players, but they move the ball quickly, and they've got real pace in the side. But we stuck with them, but we didn't lay a glove on them going the other way. You know, we a couple of opportunities, that was it, and it's not enough. So we had to make changes, and then the boys added something else to their game. Still the same determination, the same running power, the same determination in the defending, but more quality going forward, more bodies up the pitch. And I thought we created a better chance the second half.
The goal that we lost was a bit frustrating, because the assistant referee seemed to flag for offside, and the referee allowed the play to continue, but I think it just stopped us in our tracks for a second and allowed Rangers to get bodies back behind the ball. They won it, broke up, and they scored from that attack. Frustrating.
Yeah, I've not seen it back, but yeah, certainly that's how I saw it. The linesman's got it wrong to the extent of everyone could see it, even the referee, so allowed play to go on, but Sparky stopped, Mark McNulty stopped, looking round, he'd seen the flag, which, as you say, allowed everyone to get. But we saw a good opportunity from it. As I say, one of the few, and probably one of his best first half, and the problem was everyone was in a daze, and then when the ball broke straight to them, went up the pitch and scored, and it was frustrating, because, as I say, they were really good, and we sort of weathered the best bits of play first half, and we're just getting a foothold, so that put us on the back foot.
Second half, though, as you say, a much improved performance. You know, Rangers played a high pressing game in the first half, and it's a difficult game to keep up for a full 90 minutes, and we seemed to take advantage of them tiring a little bit, and we went at them hammer and tongs in that second half.
Yeah, I think it was more the other way. Rangers were excellent with the ball first half, and we had to stop that flow, so we had to get his midfield a bit higher to deal with that. And this is where the players deserve tremendous credit, because we had to make changes in our setup at half time, and we've not worked on this anywhere near as much as we need to with the players. So that 15 minutes was vital, but the players had to take it on board and make it happen, and they did. So we got pressure on their midfield, which stopped them having as much of the ball and allowed us to get bodies higher up the pitch, which was really important.
And a good partnership developing between Mark McNulty and Flo Canberry. It was a great ball in by Mark for Flo. It's right between the goalkeeper and the defenders, and Flo's in the right spot. Yeah,
and they were two of the players whose role we had to change, you know. Push Flo out to the left a little bit more, got Daryl a little bit higher, and Sparky through the middle, which meant that Sparky could do a lot of work on his own. Flo still did, tracking their right back. But it meant that Steph and Stevie could press their midfield a lot higher. But we still want those players in those key positions, which it allowed us to do. And as you say, when they got the support, they could do the damage, and we could have had more goals.
Yeah, certainly Alan McGregor had 3 or 4 really good saves in that second half, where Big Offie didn't really have much to do.
No, and that again, so that's what I say about it. Had a bit of everything. Second half again, the players still the same determination in the defending. Offie didn't have a save. We had some real good looks at their goalkeeper, and that's why, being greedy, I'd have loved to take all 3 points. 3 points, you say, would have been great, but a point's not bad in the circumstances. It could be an important point when the split comes around. Yeah, and a point closer to where we want to be. And the boys have still not been beaten in the league while we've been here, which is fantastic, and we need more of the same. Sets us up for a big one against Motherwell, who are one of the competitors for that 6th spot next week. Exactly, yeah. The games just keep getting bigger, which is what we want.
The half-time comes, I'm pretty sure everyone was probably scratching their heads. Firstly, try to figure out how it was only 1-0. Secondly, try to figure out how you go about fixing it. The second half kind of starts the same way almost. Malin has an early chance for a free kick, hits the wall. It's a poor effort. Goldson gets booked for an incident kind of similar to the one McGregor was booked for. There's a Malin corner which is just begging for a header, and funnily enough it's David Gray that's the one that could maybe stick his head out and get on the end of it.
Has he ever scored a header against Rangers?
I think he did a couple of years ago.
Ibrox, he scored a header at Ibrox.
Yeah, that'll be the one that I'm thinking of. And then obviously scored that one at Easter Road in the 4-0 win, but that was just a shot.
That was a shot, yeah.
But there's another one, it'll come back to us. And then, yeah, but that's the moment that Hibs kind of start making chances, and it's all about kind of getting in their face and forcing mistakes. You've already mentioned the one where McNulty plays in Horgan. McNulty, I thought, looks like a fantastic target man, by the way. Some of his little touches and knock-ons were really impressive.
He's not the biggest. I think his heading ability, from what I've seen, could do with a little bit of work, but I think because he's so physical and he puts himself about so much that he causes defences problems, and he ragdolls them. He pulls guys all over the place, and he doesn't sort of pull them all over the place in a way that he's fouling them. He pulls them all over the place in a way that kind of, it forces them to have their hands on him, and it forces them to pull him over, and he wins free kicks. And
it looks like what Neil Lennon was trying to make Flo Canberry.
Yeah, and I think kind of he does the job sort of better than Flo, I guess, because he's done it for longer. That's just his game. But he kind of has sort of all the attributes that make a good target man, apart from the fact that he's not 6'5", but he seems to do that job, fine, being whatever height he is. So it's one of those where you're playing him as a target man, but not a target man that you loft the ball up to. He's one that you can play the ball at the feet, and he's going to win fouls, or he's going to win knockouts.
Yeah. So Horgan has the 1-on-1. It's a good save from McGregor. I turned round to you and said we won't make a better chance than that. How wrong I was again, but still, please listen to this insightful podcast where we offer analysis. Mallon then has a long range effort which didn't look like much, but it had McGregor scrambling. He pushes it out for a corner. From that corner, McNulty has a good chance, but because he puts it so far over the bar, it maybe gets lost in how decent a chance that looked. And then the goal itself comes. I'm not going to lie, I can't really remember the build up because I get too excited when the goal itself went in, but it's McNulty again providing a great cross in, and I've already said time stood still. We were all kind of going, what's going to happen here? And Flo, coolest guy in the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to him, I think after he's missing the first half, or his failure to connect with the chance in the first half, there's a lot of people with their hearts in their mouths watching that one. But it's a very odd move again. It seems to be the ball just sort of bounced in the midfield, and there's 20 yards, but there's nobody from either side. And however it comes, I think it's Mallon it comes to, plays it through to McNulty. The Rangers defence are sleeping. I've not seen it back. I don't know how far offside it was. It's a great ball from Mark McNulty, because he takes out, I think there's one Rangers defender covering, he completely takes him out of the game. He puts it in an area where Alan McGregor can't come for it, and it's a very acrobatic finish by Flo, who, he likes his acrobatic attempts. That one was a decent enough finish, but yeah, it was one of those where I think everybody was looking and going, please don't miss this. Please don't put this wide. But fair play to him. It's a great finish, and not a bad birthday present. And
it would have been the first time that Paul Heckingbottom and Robbie Stockdale have seen an awake and thriving and bursting Easter Road, because it just exploded into life, and Hibs just kept going from there for a while. McNulty gets played in by Horgan, I want to say. Again, good save from McGregor. If I'm being harsh and because I'm greedy and because it's Rangers we're playing, I want him to score.
Yeah, but he goes back across McGregor, which is the right thing to do, but he doesn't really put it far enough in the corner. So it kind of makes it look like he's hit it straight at him. I can see what he's trying to do, and maybe sort of try to give McGregor the eyes a little bit and put it near post. But yeah, I mean, you don't want to be too harsh, because I thought Mark McNulty did well tonight when called upon, but maybe should have done slightly better with that chance.
And then we create another one straight after that. Flo cuts in from the left, gets beyond his man. McGregor, again, good save because there was bodies in front of him. The follow-up, I thought Mallon had blazed over the bar, but the corner's given, and you said that it was a really good block for Worrell.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of Worrell and McGregor managed to get it over the bar, but you're right, I was kind of looking at that and going, that's probably our chance to win this. Again, if you're being slightly harsh, if Stevie Mallon just gets his head up and puts that far post, he probably scores, because there's 3 Rangers players, McGregor included, at the near post, and nobody covering the far post. But again, you've got a millisecond to react to that. It's not kind of, right, where am I going to put this? It's just, I'm going to hit this, and wherever it goes, it goes. But it's a fantastic block / save. Again, I've not seen it back. Whatever it is, it's a good stop to deny him.
Yep, and then that was probably the last chance we made. We kind of drop a bit deeper after that, but that's I suppose, understandable, because the momentum has to be with Rangers, because quite simply they had to win tonight to keep any slim title hopes alive. So we drop deep, we see it out comfortably enough. There's a couple of scary moments. There's obviously the red card. Daryl Horgan had the chance to play in McNulty, he just held up the ball too long, and then it's a poor ball. I can't remember who it releases, but Darren McGregor takes one for the team.
Yeah, it's the best way to describe it, isn't it? I think even when we were looking at that move developing, you're going, here we go, Dad, just do it.
Yep.
Do it for the lads.
He'd done it very modestly.
He did. He just kind of, it was a nice foul, it wasn't sort of like a foul where you go, that was too far. It wasn't a foul where you go, that might be a straight red. It was one where you just pull him down and
you go, son.
Saunter off the pitch. Just when I'm ready, Saunters
off the pitch and leaves the rest of them boxing behind him.
Yeah, you thought somebody was going to have to take one at one point. Darren's on a yellow card, it's not something that he's unaccustomed to. I'm sure he's done it plenty of times before in his career. It's just defender's right, unfortunately. It's the way it has to go, and it's one of those things where you look back at it and go, that was a good foul. That was a really good foul.
It was, because they didn't really do much with their set pieces. There's a half chance for Goldson from one of them, but he's flagged for, I'm sure he's flagged for offside, because he was offside.
Or something,
yeah. It's 1 defeat in 9 against Rangers now, which is a phenomenal record.
That's an incredible record, and I mean, obviously you kind of had the element with Neil Lennon being in charge of him maybe being a little bit more driven to get results against Rangers, but Paul Heckingbottom kind of picking up that mantle as well, and again it's a performance that we've ground out a result, and it can't always be nice passing and spectacular goals. Sometimes it does have to be games like that where it's backs to the wall, where it's absolutely lashing down with rain, where the pitch is not the best, where the refereeing is suspect at best, where we ride our luck a little bit, but you take those points when they come. We've had plenty of those in the past that have not gone our way, so sign me up for more of those, please.
And amongst all the kind of drama of tonight's match, when you look at the league table after the game, which I've just done for the first time, and the final whistle went nearly an hour ago, we've extended our lead by a point in 6th place. So St Johnstone go to Livy tomorrow, which is a tricky game given kind of both teams aren't in the best run of form. If you really want to look up the table, Hearts travel to Dundee, who are obviously fighting for their lives, and then when you look even further up than that, St Mirren travel host Kilmarnock on Monday, who are also fighting for their lives. So a lot of confidence to take from that point. Is it Motherwell come Easter Road next week? A week tomorrow, Motherwell come here. You'd almost be thinking if we can pick up the win there, then we would be real favourites for holding on to that 6th place.
Which, when you look at the way the league table was a few weeks ago, is no mean feat, and Paul Heckingbottom and Robbie Stockdale deserve huge amount of credit for that, for getting us into this position, as did Eddie May and Grant Murray for picking up that 3 points at St Mirren as well, which has gone a long way to helping that. It's a tough one. It's a tough ask, because Motherwell are a good team at the moment. They've got a good squad of young players. Jake Hastie's on a fabulous run of form at the moment. Looks a real good player. Same with David Turnbull in midfield. Looks very talented. Saw Motherwell go and beat Hearts and give Hearts a really good game a couple of weeks ago as well. So that's definitely not going to be an easy game. But you're right. If it's one of those where we seem to be sort of picking up enough form at the right time, while the teams around us are perhaps not going through the best run themselves. You look at the likes of St Johnstone, as you said, on a poor run of form. Livingston not on the best run of form. We still have Livingston to play. Ironically, the one team that we do play after this is Motherwell, who in that bottom 6 are a team on a good run of form. So it's not going to be an easy game, but it's one that you're right. If we can take 3 points from that, it'll really boost our chances of finishing among the top 6.
Here's the thoughts of Daryl Horgan talking with Cliff post-match.
Daryl, terrific game tonight. It could be a vital point come the split.
Yeah, look, it's another big point. Obviously, any point against Rangers is kind of hard earned, and I think we got that tonight. We played well for long spells, and still unbeaten under the new manager in the league, so can't complain too much.
It was your old game of two halves, that one, really. Rangers were really in our faces in that first half, but the second half was an entirely different story.
Yeah, we just never really got going in the first half, just for whatever reason, just kept playing long ball and just never really got passing or movement going. And sometimes it doesn't work and you have to stick to it, and some unbelievable defending, last ditch bodies on the line stuff, and that drags into the second half. And it's funny, unfortunately, when we start get a foothold in the game, get a chance, they break and they score, so it's a funny old game. And thankfully luck came off second half and played very, very well, and probably should have won the game. I missed a very, very good chance, and we probably had other couples as well that could have put us, give us the 3 points.
As you say, it is a funny game. The goal maybe galvanised us, because in the second half we came out and it was role reversal. We were in Rangers' face the entire second half.
Yeah, I thought we looked a threat all second half. Even when they had the ball, anytime we won it and broke, we looked dangerous. When we were building up possession, we looked dangerous. And I thought just the way we played and the kind of bit of movement, and thankfully got the goal. And as I said, probably should have got another one or two maybe.
You seem to be enjoying your football yourself. You're kind of playing that wee pocket there behind Canberra and McNulty. They seem to be linking up, making a good partnership, but you're involved in all that and setting up some chances.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I want to do. The manager chop and change different formations, different ideas, but players either kind of moving into that hole or out wide or any kind of position you can pick up where there's a bit of space or create space for someone else. And it's very, very enjoyable. And as you said, the two boys up top have been excellent, and they've done well, and I think they're keeping two good young lads out of the team as well at the minute, because Ollie and Louis Allen are flying it and training as well, and they're champing at the bit to get a goal. But the two boys have been excellent.
But to your credit, you've been pretty decent yourself. It's been noticed by your country, Republic of Ireland. You called into the squad for the games against Gibraltar and Georgia. Pleased with that?
The provisional squad anyway. I'm very, very happy to get into that. It's, as I've said, any time you get an opportunity to be involved in your country, it's fantastic. We'll have to see if I'll be in the kind of main squad, but even to be involved in that is a plus.
It is, and it's an indication of the performances that you're putting in at club level. If you're putting the performances in for your team, your club, you're going to get called into the international squad. That's what it's all about.
That's the hope anyway, yeah.
So from our point of view, it sets up a massive game next week against Motherwell, who are competing with us for that top 6 spot. As we said, it could be a vital point tonight, but that one next week's got the makings of a real cracker now. Yeah. When we owed them one as well, because we were very, very poor over there when they beat us and kind of turned us over. So we'll have to be right up at it. They're on a very, very good run. Obviously, the manager hates just getting player manager of the month. So they'll be right at it. But hopefully, if we play like we've been playing, and especially like we played in that second half, I'd fancy our chances. It certainly shows. 3 wins and a draw under Paul Heckingbottom. The confidence is flowing through the lads, and it doesn't seem that we're frightened of taking on anybody at the moment. No, I don't think we ever were really. Just I suppose maybe the change, whatever. There was just sometimes that's the way it goes in football. Unfortunately, seems to get that new manager bounce, but he's been excellent so far, and we've kind of gone from strength to strength. Obviously, a disappointment last weekend, but we've come out here kind of not had a great first half, but shown a bit of character and been excellent in the second half, and no one would have begrudged us winning the game today.
So that'll do us for this week's episode. The extended highlights and the full match replay of last night's match are now available for subscribers on Hibs TV. Probably only want to watch the second half though. Next up for us is Motherwell at Easter Road on Saturday coming. Tickets will be available online for that one. Be sure to check out the season ticket campaign, if for nothing else other than the fantastic video that's been put together for it. My thanks to James Delaney as always for joining me. Massive thank you for listening, and join us next time on The Final Whistle.